Hello everyone, welcome to PETALS Institute, your trusted academic partner for mastering UPSC Agriculture Optional. So previously we have told you that we will bring in an initiative which covers the 360-degree aspects of topic which are relevant to the examination. So today we are starting that initiative and our first topic is minimum support price. And this is a very hot topic. This is always in news. The primary reason being there is always a bone of contention between government and farmers with regard to MSP. So this is very important topic and which is very relevant for top exams like UPSC, state PCS, NABARD and any other agriculture related examination. So it is very important to have a clear cut understanding on all the aspects of MSP. So in this video we will be covering 360-degree aspects of the topic MSP and thank you so much for joining. So going forward, why do farmers need price protection? So what if market price crashes after harvesting? So that is where minimum support price steps in. This is the backbone of India's agricultural price policy. So let us understand MSP in detail. So what is MSP? MSP is a form of market intervention by the government to ensure agricultural producers, farmers, against any sharp fall in farm prices. So this gives the basic idea of what MSP means. So what is market intervention? Usually the price of a commodity is decided by market forces like supply and demand for that particular commodity. So now government is telling that it will decide the price of a commodity, be it crops, based on certain factors. The factors which decides MSP will be discussed later, but still against the forces of market, government is intervening. So this is a kind of market distortion as well. Why? To ensure producers, to give a safety net to the farmers against the sudden fall in market prices. So this will give them assurance about the prices of the crops before sowing itself, because MSP is announced before the sowing season. So this will give a kind of assurance to the farmers, thereby that will encourage them to grow that crop and also have a higher investment in agriculture as well. So when MSP is announced before the sowing itself, so that they'll have an assurance about the price of a crop they are sowing. That is one part. Last thing would be who. MSP is recommended by Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices (CACP), and it is approved by Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. So you have to understand properly. Recommendation by CACP, not approved, and it is approved by Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. So this gives the basic understanding of what is MSP, when it is announced, and who recommends it and who approves it. So going forward, we will look into the timeline or historical development of the minimum support price. The very idea of MSP was born during Green Revolution. In 1960s, India was struggling with severe shortages of food. In order to ensure food security and encourage farmers to adopt to the high yielding varieties of wheat and rice, government introduced the concept of minimum support price. So in 1965, Agricultural Price Commission was set up to recommend support prices for the key crops, and it was later in 1985 it was renamed as CACP. The CACP plays a very crucial role. As you have seen, this is the body which recommends the prices of MS crops. So in 1966-67, very first official MSP was announced for the crop wheat. This marked the formal beginning of the MSP system in India. So during 1970s and 80s, MSP was gradually extended to other crops like paddy, maize, pulses, oilseeds. This helped to diversify agriculture and reduced over dependence on wheat. So in 2000s, the scope of MSP was further widened. So today, as we see, there are 22 plus 1 crops, which includes 14 kharif crop, 7 rabi crops, and 2 commercial crops. So the focus shifted towards ensuring farmers getting remunerative prices for more diversified crops. So the latest development is in 2018 Union Budget, the government announced that MSP would be set at 1.5 times the cost of production, calculated using A2 plus FL method. So Swaminathan committee recommended for C2 method. So we'll discuss these methods later. But government A2 plus FL plus 50%, 1.5 times of the cost of production was used. So this partially fulfilled the recommendations of MS Swaminathan committee. So from addressing food shortages in 1960s to ensuring fair prices for the farmers today, MSP has evolved significantly over time. Understanding its history helps us to appreciate the importance in Indian agricultural economy. So going forward, we will explore the key objectives of MSP. First thing is price stability. MSP protects farmers from the volatility of the markets, especially in the times of bumper harvest when prices crash. So this gives an assurance to the farmers and the confidence to grow crops, which ensures food security. Second thing is income security. So MSP guarantees a minimum price for the crops which are grown by the farmers. So MSP ensures that farmers don't fall into the trap of distress by selling, or they get into the exploitative loans from the farmers. So this MSP avoids distress selling and gives a stable income for the farmers. So this reduces the financial uncertainty of the farmers. Third thing is crop diversification. So now, as I told you earlier, MSP is already given for 22 plus 1 crop. So MSP is on pulses, MSP is on oilseeds, MSP is also on coarse cereals. So this will encourage farmers to shift away from excessive cultivation of rice and wheat. So thus promotes sustainable agriculture. So rice and wheat cultivation, primarily rice cultivation, has some ecological disadvantages as well. Most of you will be knowing this. So in order to deviate from such monoculture of rice and wheat, and in order to promote sustainable agriculture, MSP is playing a bigger role here by promoting crop diversification. Fourth thing is food security. So MSP supports the production of key food grains, which are very essential for India's public distribution system, which ensures that no one goes hungry. So that guarantees a reliable food supply for the nation. Fifth thing would be boosting agricultural investment. So knowing that farmers will get a fair price for their crops, they are more likely to invest in better seeds, better fertilization, better irrigation facilities, better mechanization. So that attracts investments in agriculture, that will foster growth and also innovation with respect to agriculture. And investment in agriculture will boost production and productivity, which in turn helps in income security of the farmers because of the more produce which they have. Thing would be poverty reduction. So higher returns from the agriculture contribute to the better standard of living. And this will reduce poverty in rural areas. So next thing would be balanced regional development. By offering attractive MSP for crops which are grown in rain-fed regions or underdeveloped regions, the policy will stimulate growth in backward areas as well. So that will promote regional development. So there will be no alienation in the development of different regions with respect to agriculture. By providing MSP, this also promotes regional development. Eighth thing would be controlling inflation. Though indirectly, MSP helps to stabilize the food prices by enabling government to intervene through procurement and maintenance of buffer stocks. So government will intervene, government intervention through procurement and by maintaining of buffer stocks. This will help in maintaining price stability of commodities in the market. That will help in controlling inflation. So consumers will be paying a better prices for the commodities which they buy. With this, government will be enabling controlling of inflation. So next thing is supporting procurement. So MSP ensures that government can procure enough food grains to distribute through the schemes like National Food Security Act 2013. Also, finally, MSP ensures political and social stability. So robust MSP mechanism prevents farmers' protest and unrest by reaffirming government's commitment to agricultural welfare. If MSP mechanism is implemented properly, this will reduce the uncertainty in prices of the crops. That will help, that will give an assurance to the farmers, and farmers will then stop protesting. That is the whole crux of this. So finally, MSP is not just a price, it is a policy which is aimed at uplifting farmers, ensuring food availability, and maintaining social and economic stability of the country as a whole, but farmers in particular. So MSP as a policy which is aimed at uplifting farmers by ensuring food security, food and food availability, also maintaining economic and social stability. So this is the brief of the objectives of the minimum support price policy. So moving forward, I'll break down the list of crops for which Government of India announces minimum support price every year. We'll also touch on the sugarcane, which is covered under the different mechanism called FRP, fair and remunerative price. So every year, Government of India announces MSP for 22 mandated crops plus one crop which is sugarcane, that is fair and remunerative price FRP for sugarcane. Total 23 crops. So let us start with the Kharif crops. So Kharif crops which are sown during the monsoon and harvested by the October. So there are almost 14 Kharif crops which are under MSP, and they are further classified as Kharif cereals. There are 5 crops which are paddy, jowar, bajra, ragi and maize. So these are 5 Kharif cereal crops which are under the ambit of MSP. So again, with respect to Kharif pulses, there are 3 crops which are under MSP. One is tur, another one is urad and moong. So again, there are Kharif oil seed crops as well. There are 5 oil seed crops which are under the MSP. They are groundnut, sunflower, sesame, Niger and soybean. So next we have Rabi crops which are sown in winter and harvested in spring. There are 6 Rabi crops which are under the MSP, and they are again divided in similar fashion like Rabi cereals. These include wheat and barley. Rabi pulses include gram and lentil, and Rabi oilseed consist of rapeseed and thoria. So under commercial crops category, there is raw cotton, and there is raw jute. So these two crops are under the ambit of MSP. So there are additional crops. Government also announces MSP for crops like copra, both ball copra and milling copra, and also for dehusked coconut. Additionally, sugar cane is not under MSP. Instead, sugar cane price is determined as fair and remunerative price under the Essential Commodities Act, and this is also fixed by Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. So the FRP ensures mills pay farmers a fair return based on the cost of production of sugarcane. So to summarize, India's MSP system covers 22 mandated crops plus copra plus coconut plus FRP for sugarcane. So going forward, we will discuss the factors which will influence the CACP in recommendation of MSP. So the CACP is the expert body that recommends the MSP for 22 crops each year. But it doesn't just pull the numbers out of thin air. It considers several factors which are very, very important while considering the MSP recommendation. And the most crucial factor is cost of production. CACP uses, there are three different cost calculations under cost of production which we will discuss now. So A2 cost. So A2 cost is the actual paid out cost. So for example, if a farmer pays for seeds, fertilizers, labor, irrigation, these are inputs. So this A2 cost includes actual paid out cost of the expenses incurred by the farmer. So this is one method for cost of production. And the second thing is A2 plus FL. So usually farmer along with his family work in the field during cultivation of crops. So in this method adds the imputed value of unpaid family labor to the A2 cost. So these are the A2 cost. Along with this family labor, so family of the farmer, the labor which is usually unpaid during the process of cultivation, that is also added in this method of cultivation. So this method usually recognizes the contribution of family members who work on the farm and who are usually not paid wages. So this is also considered in this method of calculation A2 plus FL. So in 2018 budget, A2 plus FL plus 50%, so 1.5 times of the cost of production has been considered by the government of India to recommend MSP. So this is one thing. So the third method is C2 cost, and MS Swaminathan committee recommended a comprehensive C2 cost for consideration while recommending MSP. So this C2 cost includes A2 plus FL plus. So while cultivating, farmers owns a land. So basic economics tells us land derives rent, and also farmers will invest capital, and this capital should generate interest as well. So imputed rent on the owned land and interest owned on the fixed capital assets. So these costs are also included in the C2 method of cost of production. So MS Swaminathan committee recommended this method. Unfortunately, this method is not considered as of now, and there is a committee of parliament, standing committee of parliament on agriculture recommended C2 cost to be taken for MSP cultivation, but this is still under consideration. So as of today, A2 plus FL plus 50% is being used. This method is being used for recommending MSP. So this is one factor which is considered by the CACP while recommending prices for crops under MSP policy. So let us look into the other factors as well. So other factors include demand and supply. So if a crop is in surplus, the MSP hike might be limited, and if there is a shortage, a higher MSP may be recommended in order to encourage more sowing. Also, CACP studies both domestic as well as international. price market trends, especially for globally traded crops like cotton, oilseeds. This helps to ensure MSP competitive in the market. Additionally, the MSP must maintain the balance between the prices of different crops. So if one crop's MSP is high, farmers may abandon others and they will go to sowing of that crop itself. So the price parity between crops prevents monocropping and also promotes crop diversification. That is the whole idea of this factor. So the terms of trade means the ratio between what farmers sell and what they buy. So exchange of condition between two sectors. Rising input cost must be matched by the MSP increases so as to ensure that agriculture will become financially viable. So that is the whole idea. And the final thing is MSP must not trigger inflation, especially for staple food like wheat and rice. So CACP also considers consumer affordability and the PDS system while recommending prices for crops. So in short, MSP isn't just a number. It is a delicate balancing act between farmers' welfare, food affordability, as well as market stability. So all these three things, farmers' welfare, food affordability, market stability, all three things will be taken into consideration while recommending MSP for the crops. So going forward, I'll break down the key benefits of MSP. So first thing is fixed remuneration. As MSP is already fixed before sowing, this will ensure stable income for the farmers. Price stability. So even if there is a drastic reduction or price crash in the market, MSP will give assured prices for the crops which are grown by the farmers, that will indirectly or directly will help in income security to the farmers. That will give financial safety to the farmers. So informed decision making. So as MSP is announced before sowing, so that will help farmers to decide on which crops to be sown based on the availability of the resources in their hand. That so MSP will help in making strategic choices based on the information that is available to the farmers. So also MSP promotes crop diversification. As you know, there are 22 plus 1 crops. So MSP is not restricted to rice and wheat itself. It also has pulses, oilseeds as well. So that will encourage wide variety of crops to be grown. That in turn strengthens the food security. So also MSP sets the benchmark price for the market. For example, MSP of wheat last year was 2425. So government before sowing in Kharif itself, in Kharif and Rabi, they have set the MSP for wheat. So this acts as a benchmark price for the market. If the price of the crop grows beyond this point, so farmers anyway have the benefit of selling the wheat in PDS system for the government. FCA will procure. So this acts as the benchmark price. So that will give the price stability and safety net for the farmers. Also, procurement at the MSP feeds into the India's PDS system, so ensuring food availability to the poor. MSP also helps in building buffer stocks that will help in tackling inflation and respond to the natural disasters as well. So to sum it up, MSP is not just a price tool, it is a policy for security, sustainability and stability in Indian agriculture. So moving forward, I will discuss the major issues and limitations of the India's MSP system. While MSP supports farmers, it is not without its flaws. Let us understand them one by one. So although MSP is declared for 22 crops, in reality, 90% of the procurement of rice and wheat happens mainly in Punjab, Haryana and Western UP. So This creates regional and crop-based inequality, leaving out millions of farmers from the net of MSP. Because of assured procurement, farmers keep choosing rice and wheat even in the water scarce or unsuitable areas. This distorts the cropping pattern and limits the crop diversity and hinders the free market development in that region. So, government is spending on procurement, on storage, and on subsidies. This has crossed more than 2 lakh crore rupees for an year. So this is a huge burden on the government. This reduces the funding of government with respect to irrigation, research, rural infrastructure, and this also creates leakages in the system. So this is a huge fiscal burden on the finances of the government. This is one of the limitation with respect to MSP system. So FCI struggles with the inadequate storage and poor logistics. So this results in wastage of grains, public funds, and inefficient public distribution system. Also, MSP backed crops like paddy and wheat are water hungry and are chemically intensive. So this causes groundwater depletion, soil exhaustion, and air pollution, especially in Punjab and Haryana. So it has lot of ecological consequences as well. And continuous focus on rice and wheat reduces the crop biodiversity, neglecting climate resilient and nutritious crop like millets and pulses. This weakens the national security, nutritional security, and resilience of the our food system. So, while the MSP system is very vital for ensuring price stability, income security to the farmers, its design and implementation need certain reforms to ensure it serves all the farmers sustainably and equitably. Now I'll explore the reform roadmap for the India's minimum support price system. First thing would be expanding procurement beyond rice. So MSP should benefit all the farmers, not just those who are growing rice and wheat. So it is time to scale up procurements of more pulses, millets, oil seeds, even horticulture crops, especially in the eastern and tribal regions. Second thing would be strengthening infrastructure and logistics. So more MSP crops mean we need more modern storage, cold chains, and more logistical support, modern logistics. So investing in this infrastructure reduces the post-harvest loss and boost market efficiency. So next thing would be to revamp MSP calculation formula. So there is a need to shift towards C2 cost formula, which includes land rent and capital interest. Also, account for regional cost variations and climate risk to make MSP more just and equitable. Also, we can use platforms like enam, blockchain, and AI to make the procurement process more transparent, efficient, and traceable. So there is a case study where two brothers organic farm, a company led by two brothers, they use blockchain technology to trace end-to-end transaction with respect to the products that are sold through their company. So that can be used here in solving problems which are related to MSP. Also, we can digitalize the land records. So there is a example of Karnataka where all the land records has been digitalized. So that can be done nationwide, and the progress is also happening now with respect to digitization of the land record. So digitized land records can be linked to the farmer's Aadhaar card, and eligibility can be checked. And through this process, leakages with respect to the policy transformation can be traced, and policy can be efficiently transferred to the respective holders. Oh, next thing would be strengthening FPOs. So empowering FPOs to aggregate produce, to to negotiate prices and to participate directly in MSP operations. So giving them training, giving them proper credit from the formal financial institutions, and also providing them market support will definitely help in achieving the goals of doubling the farmers' income as well as empowering farmers financially. Also, introducing income support. So recently, the Standing Committee of Parliament on Agriculture has recommended that PM Kisan amount, most of you will be knowing that rupees 6,000 will be given in 3 installments to the farmers. So Parliamentary Standing Committee has recommended to increase double the support, so that which is adjusted to the inflation, that will have a better impact for the farmers as per the report. Such income support initiatives with DBT and insurance scheme to the farmers is the need of the hour. Also, policy reforms, and there is a need to create national MSP policy with clear roles of the center, states, and the FCI. While creating such policy, there is a need to engage with the stakeholders, primarily farmers, economists, and state government, civil society organization. So proper engagement with the stakeholders is very, very necessary while doing such policy reforms. So why? Because to build a consensus and design which is very, very okay for all the stakeholders. So if there is arbitrary decisions, for example, 3 farm laws which was repealed by the government without any stakeholder engagement, so which has led to widespread protest in the Punjab and Haryana border. So in order to avoid such circumstances, there is a need to have a constant engagement with the all stakeholders who will be affected by such policy reform. So this is very, very essential at this point in time to take them into consideration, bring them on board, and take their suggestions and implement them in policy, so that all the stakeholders will get the benefit of such policy reforms. Finally, the India's MSP system needs an overhaul, not abandonment. With smart reforms, we can ensure it works for every farmer, every crop, and every region. So, a reformed MSP system must be inclusive, diversified, and regionally equitable and ecologically sustainable, ensuring not just fair remuneration for the farmers but also long term food and nutritional security for the nation. With this, I'm signing off from the video. I think most of the topics which are very, very relevant to MSP has been covered. And if you have any queries or any doubt with respect to MSP, you can comment it down. We will answer to all such queries. And thank you so much for joining. Please like, subscribe, and also share the video with fellow aspirants, and follow Petals Institute for more such content in YouTube. And a detailed PDF explaining all the aspects of MSP will be given in our Telegram channel by the end of the day. So join our Telegram channel for more such content with related to agriculture. And thank you so much. So link for the Telegram channel will be posted in the comment section. Once again, thank you. Bye bye. Have a good day.